really freaking well because I have bald tires. Alright, good luck to me. What story should I tell right now? This will be a weird one. Alright. Okay, so I was hanging out with homeless people. I used them to hook me up with crystal meth. We got a bunch, and I don't snort or smoke it because I just was done with all that at this point in my life. I put it in water, melted it, and drank it, or I straight ate it. Excuse me. So this time I put a huge rock in a good amount of water in a water bottle, like a half a bottle of water. I could tell how strong the meth was by the taste of the water. So I put it all in, I melted it. I knew I put the rock too big in the water because I didn't want to break it up. I didn't want to really get it in my fingers and get it stuck on my nails, and so I couldn't break the rock, so I just put in the whole rock. I was very concerned with getting the meth on my fingers. I didn't want that. But I was not concerned with poisoning my body with the drug itself. So I was driving around with them for some reason. I guess we were at like a Blockbuster video or something. I put it in the water. I took a sip and I knew it was strong, and then I took a hard gulp, almost drinking half of the amount. And even the homeless people looked at me like, fuck, that's a lot. And they said, this is strong. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I was pretty good at like hard tweaking at this point, you know, it act normal. But the stuff was too good this time, because here's what happened. As soon as it started kicking in, and I started to see spots and specks, and I knew I was going into a dash of hallucination, right? Spots and specks around, you know, little flashes and dots, and then I saw a little, like, if I turned my face really quick, things and people would melt a little melt in my eyes or whatever, you know. I'm looking, oh, that's kind of weird looking, so I have to really focus on life now with my eyes. I knew this was too fucking strong. So I put it in my sock like I did. I dropped the homeless people off, and I went to go get, I don't remember what I was buying, but I drove to my drug dealer's house, and I was getting something to calm me down. I think I was buying probably some bars of Xanax and probably some Oxy. Yeah, definitely Oxy and bars. So I was trying to come down basically at that point. I went way too high. I remember going to his house, and I was on a different planet. I could see people in the bushes, like tree people looking at me. And it looked like Halloween costumes, like they were in a costume, like I was at a costume party in life. It was so weird. And they would look at me and they could move around, and they had eyes, and they were all matching into the trees. It was really weird. But I knew they were fake, and so I just kind of moved on with life. Then, I was at his house, and he had a rock pile, like next to his house. He lived in a trailer in a driveway, right? So the rock pile itself looked like, you know, like the rocks were like getting up and growing feet and walking around, and it was so weird to me. In reality, it was just a pile of rocks. To me, it was pretty trippy and not a pile of rocks. So we're standing there and we're just talking, and I accidentally said to him, "What's with the pile of rocks?" Now, thank God he only thought that I just was talking about why is there a pile of rocks there. So he like went into an elaborate story about why there's a pile of rocks there, and I had zero interest and wasn't listening because I knew he didn't understand what I meant, thank God. And as soon as he finished the rock story, I got in my car and got the hell out of there. Somehow made it home. Took whatever to try to calm me down, but it was way too much at this point. I was really seeing a lot of people and things and in the shadows, and Just weird shit. Like, I thought, for example, there were army people in the streets kind of getting ready to, like, look at me like little army toy people. I said enough at home to scare my parents, and I decided I'm going to stay in my room and ride this out. And so I fucking stayed in my room and hallucinated pretty good for about 2 days before I could be feeling normal. And I said enough to my parents that they knew I was on drugs at this point. I told them, like, I think the neighbor is spying on me with his, and he has an army of people, and I saw like little flashes in the trees, and I was actually so tripped out that I would go over to the trees and like flash back with my cell phone. It was like I was doing Morse code or something. Really out there, not on this earth with the rest of humanity. So I wrote it out. I knew I'd get back to normal. That's the kind of thing, although it took, okay, I stopped seeing melting things and everything after about 2 days, but that was pretty hardcore. Then, and of course I have zero interest in food or water, but I knew enough to take, I would drink a lot of Gatorade, and I would take vitamin B pills and whatever, you know. Try to slow myself down. I took a bunch of Benadryl, just shit like that. Didn't need to eat food though. I guess I wasn't smart enough at that point. Zero appetite is what happens on meth. So I just figured that I could get the liquids in me enough to not lose a ton of massive weight off my body and muscle mass, whatever. I'm in 4th gear this whole time. Jesus. Oh, good Lord. I'm pressing the engine here. Alright, I'm going to stop talking and telling the story, but that was a nightmare. I'll finish it with this. I'll wrap this package of the story with this ribbon. In order for me to think clearly and not have any little conspiracy theories about life or the neighbors or whatever, it took a good 2-3 weeks. Now this was before I had done enough drugs to literally hear voices and have conversations with people. So that came later. That was another year of hardcore conversations with people. Pretty bad. A lot of spying on me kind of stuff. Just all this shit, none of it existed in reality. Meth really changed my brain to a point where I can't do any drugs that are uppers, or my mind instantly goes to hearing voices and having conversations with people. It actually goes to a narration of my life, believe it or not. Right now, I don't hear anything. There's no one narrating my life but me. And that's the way it should be. Thank God I got back to normal. I don't think I'm actually normal. I've probably done enough damage to fuck myself for life, but for the time being, I don't have a narrator of my life, and that's pretty good. Man, hearing voices, that psychosis level, that's scary. I hate that. And it goes on forever, for weeks, just on a little relapse. My mind is very changed. So I need to keep it at this point right now. Anything more, I'm not in a good place. Alright, this is heavy rain, I'm going to stop talking. I guess I'll add this one last note. I went through a phase where I would buy the drug, do a little, and within about 6 hours, flush the drug. And I remember the last time I did this. I was alone, and I knew that my behavior was not right. I was acting not right. Well, at least my mind didn't feel right. So, I flushed it, and I called my sponsor. And I talked to him. And then the next day called my sponsor and talked to him. And the next day talked to him. And I called Dalton and talked to him. I made sure that I did whatever I needed to do to not go back and buy more. After I got over the hump, about 3 or 4 days of calling them, I then went to meetings and called my sponsor, and went to meetings and called my sponsor on a regular basis. That's what I'm trying to do now. That's what I'm actually doing now. I need to call my sponsor, actually. And I need to try to go to a meeting probably tomorrow morning. I can think clearly. I'm speaking fluently. Or not fluently. I'm speaking fluidly. Fluid. like liquid comes out of my mouth. I'm spitting a lot when I talk. That's what I meant to say. There we go. So I'm trying to keep my mind here. This is a pretty good place for my head to be at. I'll say this. My thing that I notice, my pattern, if I start feeling too normal for too long, which is what I feel now, I have in the past gotten just, I need change. I am too sick of this straight. Like I feel too normal. My head is too normal and good. There's not enough of something that I'm missing. And I need to make sure it's not the drug that I need. It's life. And so that's when I need to get outside of myself and do something that's going to change the way I think and feel without doing a drug. Like spending quality time with my girlfriend or hanging out with my parents. These are things I need to be doing. Right now, thank God, I'm working 40 hours a week, staying busy, putting my mind to work, helping other people. Not even thinking of anything about myself or doing anything besides helping the people at work. So far, that keeps me pretty sane for 40 hours, and hopefully it'll give me some spiritual growth. It's happening, but it's very slow. And I'm trying to focus on the positives and not focus on the anything negative or anything that I dislike about the job. I'm blessed to have a job and get a paycheck. I wonder if it hurt any of that.